Everybody, tonight I would like to share some tips on how to communicate with a child. This is a general school of psychology. This is Russian method from Moscow State University. Professors such as Hippenreiter and so on. So they developed certain techniques based on Pavlov's teachings on how to communicate with children, especially problem children who are rebellious in character, who want to challenge you. And this is also a tip for my ladies here, because I think many men are generally a bunch of giant babies. So this is a method that you can talk to your spouse or soon-to-be spouse. Anyways, when you start with your child, usually mom, the psychologists believe, is supposed to nurture, and the father's role is to protect, of course, and to instill true values in the child. So you have, but both parents interchange eventually, and you can nurture both emotionally, feed their mind, feel and protect their hearts as well. So when a child is young, they have all these stages of developments. When you think about Freud and Freudian school that is well known in Western society, this is about them getting through these milestones where they have their character formed. First stage, and this revolves around pleasure principle, or avoiding pain too. So first stage is when they receive pleasure, when they are breastfed. So this is important to breastfeed, because this is how how emotional connection between mother and child are formed. And that's how they don't get this oral fixation and look for comfort with food, and also would not smoke cigars if you pass this stage correctly. Then goes this anal stage, where a child is learned to use potty training when they poop, because they originally see their poop as part of themselves, so they don't understand that it is bad. So if you do too much during this stage, then they can end up being, meticulous, what is called anal fixated, too much germophobic, and so on and so forth. And the final stage is this genital stage, when all the pleasure is concentrated on the vagina or the penis. So this was Freud. And in Russia, it's a little bit different. We concentrate on the trainings and psychology as mind and emotional attachment, emotional encouragement with words. So, first of all, when you have a toddler, for example, who is crying, who cannot stop crying, or also a more adult person who are into hysterical breakdown, what you need to do is you need to name the emotions that they feel at the moment, because at that stage of life, the toddler They cannot acknowledge their own emotions. They they don't even they are not even aware of the emotions that they feel. So you have to name the emotion that they feel at the moment. Okay? So I'll give you example. Oh, you fell down and your knee is hurting you. You are very angry about this. Oh, you feel pain. This is so painful. Oh, my little baby, and so on and so forth. So you are supposed to recognize what kind of emotion they feel at the moment. It takes brain, it takes eyes to observe and really look at your child and read their emotions. So you have to be emotionally intelligent yourself to use this method in the first place. So next stage. Usually when a child turns 5 years old, before that, of course, everything is individual, but I'm saying about general rules. When child turns 5 years old, his interest starts to revolve not about mom, but rather with the father and society around in general. So they become interested in the larger community than themselves and their immediate parent, which is mother. And this is when a father also comes into play. This is just general. And at this stage, child comes to you. For example, they had a day as a daycare, or they had a day at school, or they have been spending time with their friends. So they come to you and they tell you something. And you shouldn't say things like, oh, like in the first case that I described, where there is a toddler, you shouldn't say, oh, stop crying, be quiet. No, you should name their emotions. Guess what emotions they feel, and then you name them for them. And then they feel better. And the pain will go numb. So when a child is older and they come home to you and they tell you something that happens to them. So this is a story, and you basically what you need to do, remember, you make a summary of this story in like 3 sentences. Like he gives you a long speech and you give summary of his story as a feedback. And you say in your own words, because you don't repeat in exactly the same phrases that he uses, because they would think that you are mocking them. You try to summarize what they were trying to tell you, the main idea, but you use your own words. Just rephrase them and say what was the main idea. And in general, this will be like they will feel heard, and it won't be like they come to dinner, they tell you something, and you say just eat your macaroni and cheese, something like that. That's what you need to do each time when a child tells you what happened to them. This will help to establish the trust. Okay? Then when they do this text, just imagine you hear a certain text and then you hear certain words that are repeated. after you said the summary in 3 sentences with your own words, then if you want them to be guided and do what you want, you then say something, you formulate what you what you want them to do next with this situation, but using the repeated words that they use. So when a person says some sort of text to you, in general, this is a general rule that all psychologists use. You just keep silent with and adopt a smart look on your face, like you're attentive and very smart. And then after this, when you are listening, you just need to notice the words that keep repeated. So the words that keep repeated during the text are his keywords. So you use these keywords in the end to enter his consciousness. And then you try to, this is the little key to his consciousness. And that's how you convince them to do what you think is the right thing to do with the words, with the repeated words that you noted that they use. Okay, this is after you give the summary in 3 short sentences of what they were trying to tell you. Yeah, so this, especially the first one, is very important when you have to name their emotions that they feel at the moment. It helps in many cases because a lot of times children would stop crying, and because when you just say hush hush, when a baby is crying, when you say hush hush, you will lose the trust. Do not try to distract their attention with something else. Do not do all this stuff. Just name the emotion that they feel at the moment. Okay? So, for example, a little baby is crying at the bus. He's crying, he cannot stop crying, and then you say something like, "Oh, little baby, he's hurt because he's tired. We are standing in the traffic jam, and there is no conditioner working, and he's sweating, and you already want to go home. You don't want to be here, and you are tired, and you are upset about them not listening to you and not doing what you want. And you are correct. This is a very hot day, and the conditioner is not working. And you are correct to be enraged, and you are a good baby boy. Don't worry about anything. It will resolve soon." So these are the tips. So to summarize, remember to recognize and name their emotions, and B, remember to give them feedback, not just dismiss, just let them know that you have been listening to them. That's how they will learn that they are understood. They don't want you to agree with them. They don't want you to, be, they don't want themselves to forcing to win, or they just want to be heard. Okay? Everybody wants to be heard and understood. That's what they need to know for themselves. Because otherwise, from their perspective, from their side, just think about it. They are crying, they feel uncomfortable, they are crying, and you just say hush hush, you dismiss, you cut them short, and so on and so forth. So that's not how you should go, and do not try to distract their attention, because it will only anger them more, okay? And if they tell you something, do not just repeat it back to them like a parrot. Then they think that you are mocking them. Use your own words. Like, I understood you this way. This and that happened and you acted like this. And they acted like that. So these were the tips for parents, how to treat babies, toddlers, and more adult persons. Also, when a child cannot do certain problems, certain home task, you need to tell him or her, let's do this together. And when you do things together, you are supposed to be equal. Act as equal to him, like if it's a game, and not like you're guiding him and you are above him. Do not hold position higher than the child. Be equal to them. And when they cannot do the task, just say, let's do it together. Because nowadays, everything is really stressful and there is too much information overload. And sometimes human mind cannot feel it in. So what they cannot do problem-wise during 1 year, they will manage in another year. It just takes 1 year to handle, to widen your mind space to be able to handle a certain task. Some are slower than others, but eventually everybody catches up. So don't worry about this, because the research says that all these genius and prodigies, they don't much succeed in life, okay? They don't become like these really successful entrepreneurs and so on and so forth. You need to make people more emotionally intelligent, and not be afraid of the world, not be afraid of themselves, not to hate themselves. And a lot of these geniuses, prodigies, violin players, they end up in, loony house, lunatic asylum. That's why don't feel bad if your child doesn't complete some task or something like that, if somebody is doing better at school, because you never know how they end up, and it usually see students that end up being successful entrepreneurs. That was my bit of advice to you as a psychologist. So I hope you like it, and if you have something to add, do the comment section.